A very good afternoon. You're watching the Big Lunch Hour with me, Akshita. Well, first up, AAP workers demanded re-elections in Bangalore rural today. Aam Aadmi Party has filed a complaint with the Election Commission demanding re-elections, accusing them of cash for votes and stating that the polls were rigged. AAP workers were allegedly beaten up by DK Shivkumar's henchmen on polling day in Karnataka. 3 AAP workers were allegedly assaulted on April 17th after they caught DK's henchmen indulging in corrupt practices. They were allegedly distributing money for votes in Bangalore rural. Ravikrishna Reddy, AAP's candidate from Bangalore rural constituency, openly called DKS and his brother Gundas and was seen protesting on the streets along with AAP workers soon after the incident. And now they have officially written to the Election Commission demanding that action be taken, demanding that they be re-polling in Bangalore rural constituency. But the Aam Aadmi Party making it very clear that they will not let this issue die down and they want the necessary action to be taken. Remember, it's not just AAP which has been accusing the Congress and DKS of going ahead and indulging in cash for votes. According to the BJP as well, the same was done. A BJP candidate from Bangalore rural, Muniraju Gowda, had also joined the chant by the AAP, wherein he claimed that yes, DK Shivkumar had brought in people from Tamil Nadu and Namma Bengaluru to go ahead and cast their votes in favour of Congress. He also claimed that people who had gathered there to vote were threatened that if they did not vote for DK Shivkumar's brother DK Suresh in Bangalore rural, they would pay the ultimate price. Their business would be ruined and their property seized. Now, this is what Muniraju Gowda had also gone on to state, but the Aam Aadmi Party has now taken this particular fight a step further. They have taken it to the Election Commission and filed a complaint with them, stating quite clearly that they will ensure that re-polling is done in Bangalore rural constituency. Now, we'll have to wait and watch to see how the EC takes this forward. Remember, the Aam Aadmi Party, in one critical measure, had put up booths across the city to ensure that proper voting was done. So if they do have actual footage of the allegations that they pose, we could be looking at re-polling in Bangalore rural constituency. In fact, ever since polling day, we have seen several AAP workers take to the streets. They have been protesting for several days now, and in fact, these protests have been led by Ravikrishna Reddy himself, who has openly gone on to call DKS and his brothers Gundas. He has also gone on to quite clearly state that they will not rest till action is taken and that they want this issue to be addressed and they want the EC to take note. Well, according to them, there was a distribution of several goods such as saris and the likes, and in the complaint to the EC, they've also stated that money and materials were distributed by Congress workers to woo voters. These were both DK Suresh and DK Shivkumar. Goods such as saris, bindis, watches were distributed, and large-scale distribution throughout the campaign was also done. And come polling day, the scene was no different. It is understood that AAP workers, 3 of them who had caught such a malpractice, had in fact managed to capture the same, but were immediately assaulted by DKS's henchmen, and that is why they have now gone on an all-out spree to ensure that action is taken and that we see re-polling in Bangalore rural constituency, wherein free and fair polling takes place. They claim, of course, that it wasn't just on the day of polling, but during the campaign as well, that similar stuff was being witnessed, wherein throughout the campaign, DK Suresh's men, the congressmen, were seen distributing several goods to the people, were seen distributing saris, bindis, watches, and several other material goods to the people for their votes. Besides that, on polling day, they allege that money was distributed to these voters. Remember, it's not just the Aam Aadmi Party. A couple of days back, we also saw BJP's Muniraju Gowda going ahead and agreeing with the same. He quite clearly stated that money was given to several people. People who had gathered at these polling stations were also allegedly threatened by DKS's henchmen to go ahead and vote for the Congress.
and welcome to News9. I'm Bansi. AAP workers demand re-elections in Bangalore rural. Aam Aadmi Party has filed a formal complaint with the Election Commission demanding re-election, accusing the Congress candidate, the sitting candidate, of cash for votes and stating that the polls were rigged. The Aam Aadmi Party workers were allegedly assaulted up by D.K. Shivkumar's henchmen on polling day in Karnataka. That was on the 17th of April. 3 Aam Aadmi Party volunteers were allegedly assaulted on the 17th of April after they caught D.K. Shivkumar's henchmen indulging in corrupt practices. They were allegedly distributing money for votes in Bangalore rural. Well, to talk about what really happened on that day, we have the two of them who are actually there on the spot. Well, we have Chandan Raghotam, who was there on the spot. Thank you for joining us on this program.
Thank you.
Also, we have Professor Babu Matthew, someone who is a AAP candidate, who also contested the elections for the Member of Parliament. Thank you for joining us, Professor Babu Matthew.
Thank you.
Also, we have Mr. K. Arkesh, who was CRPF commandant. He was the man, Mr. Arkesh, who was out there to nab Veerappan and his associates. Well, thank you, Mr. Arkesh. You're also an AAP candidate. Thank you for joining us. Also, we have Mr. Suresh Rathod. Well, he was also one of those who was severely assaulted at Mayaganhalli. Well, first, let's really find out what happened on that day. First, Chandan, what really happened on that day?
Yeah, that day, since I'm a candidate agent, I'm allowed to visit any booth. So, the very first booth, when we started from Bididi, Mayaganhalli was the very first booth that we came across, and we saw a huge crowd standing outside the booth, some 30 feet away.
Okay.
So, when we went and wanted to see what was happening there, in front of our eyes, autos will come from the villages, and they just distribute money to the autos, people sitting inside the auto, and then they go out for vote.
Okay.
So we thought it's a good opportunity to immediately click pictures. So that's the time we started clicking pictures.
Okay.
And
so how many of you, yourself, Motegowda,
yeah, myself,
and Suresh Rathod,
and Motegowda were there. And when we started clicking pictures, initially only 10 people came to us. Initially they didn't know we are from the AAP because we were not wearing the we were not supposed to wear the party cap that day. So we were wearing plain top.
They thought you were observers.
Yeah, they thought we are observers, and initially they kept quiet. But one of them started shouting, "Who are you?" And they saw our handbands, all those things, and then they started attacking us.
How did they attack you?
They didn't have any weapons, but they started slapping us, hitting on our head.
They started pushing you, slapping you.
Yes, yes, and they started abusing us with all sorts of languages. And one of the main thing that we could observe was they directly told us that if you don't go, we'll finish you.
So they used verbal threats. Yes. Okay, what really happened to you? Can you just narrate that entire incident? What happened?
Like we stopped near to that road, across the road.
Okay.
We could see the people carrying notes along with the.
These are
polling
fresh
slip.
notes, you said.
Yeah, fresh notes.
Okay.
There were fresh notes. They were carrying along with the polling slip, the serial number and other thing, the detail which will carry on that slip.
Okay.
They were walking happily away from the polling booth after voting, and few people were there in the auto where these guys were distributing cash. So we walked till there. We went and saw other political parties sitting happily, watching all this drama. This party was like having 20-30 people guarding all those autos, safely distributing money to them. Those autos were purposefully carrying.
So the Congress counter was there distributing money.
Yes, yes.
And you saw it. And the JDS counter was on the other side. They were just watching and mutely keeping, they were just keeping quiet.
Yeah, yeah. That was surprising.
That was a surprise. Okay. And then you went in.
Yeah, we went in. We went in.
First you tried to click pictures from outside.
Immediately, like we came into action. We saw that something illegal is happening over there. we thought we should take pics and with sufficient evidence we should submit it to the observer.
Okay.
So we started clicking the photographs. So these like Chandan and Motegoda were having two two phones. They started clicking pics. So immediately they came into action. They got to know that definitely these guys are
From their handbands, from their wristbands.
Wristbands was not visible at that time. Like we were having
Full shirt.
full shirts. So immediately when Chandan uttered, "We are from Aam Aadmi Party,"
so you were safe till he uttered the words
Yes,
Aam
yes.
Aadmi Party.
We were safe till we said that Aam Aadmi Party.
Okay. The
So
moment
when
you
we
said
started-
Aam Aadmi Party, what happened?
Which one? They started like
Physically assaulting you?
physically assaulting
Oh,
us.
so first they
Even like
pushed
they
you around.
dragged us to the divider of the Mysore Bangalore highway.
Physically
so like
dragged.
one side we crossed already safely. The other side we had a very high chance that we were pulled onto the road where the
Vehicles were zipping
traveling
past.
at the speed of 100 or 200 kilometers per hour.
So 100 plus kilometers per hour the vehicles are traveling.
That,
You could
that is a down stream.
it's a gradient.
Yeah, it's a gradient road.
Okay.
Inclination is there.
Okay.
So the vehicles were definitely moving in a speed, and probably when we were protesting, we got to know that that's a very prone accident spot. That's the accident signs are there, like warning signs are there for these things.
Okay.
So
That entire ordeal of thrashing you and abusing you, how long did it last?
It lasted for around 10-15 minutes.
Okay. Did you try telling them they can't assault you, they can't touch you?
No, actually, we didn't want to get anything like verbal or physical with them. So we were just trying to avoid those thrashes, and at that time, when they asked us to move, I just simply told that we are not going to move until you stop this. At that time, there were only two home guards there, and one constable who was inside.
They
He
were
came
more
running.
interested in other things,
Yeah,
not in you.
yeah.
Okay.
So the two home guards and one constable could not really control the crowd of around 30 there. So that is the reason police also started telling us that you run away. We cannot in any way control them, you run away.
So finally also, considering that they assaulted you endlessly and they also threatened you a lot, to the end of it, did they also say, don't tell anybody about what happened or anything along those lines?
No, they were like outright hooliganism. They didn't worry about whether we tell anyone, but they were worried about my camera, my mobile.
Yeah,
because,
what happened to your camera as
yeah,
well?
they actually threw my mobile to a certain distance, and
Okay.
Suresh observed that and he picked up the.
I had to sneak peek and catch that mobile from there.
That's your proof.
Yeah.
That's
So you have the proof at hand?
yeah. We were very lucky that phone was like capable of sustaining such kind of a thrash.
Right. Mr. Babamati, we also know that a complaint has been filed with the Election Commission. You also joined Mr. Ravikrishnan Reddy in the protests the next day during the overnight dharna as well. What are your demands? Basically a repolling, but besides that, have you also called for action in this case?
Yes, we have said that both the returning officer as well as the senior police officer, the SP of the district, they seem to be incapable of discharging their duties impartially.
Absolutely.
And it's obvious that this is because the political influence in that district is so high that they don't have the courage to take independent action. So we had to bring a lot of pressure. We mobilized people, we staged a dharna. We were careful to make sure that all our actions were peaceful and democratic. But we insisted that they'll have to receive our complaint.